Okay, I'd say the product of the year and product of maybe next year is an integrated Smith machine. More and more racks are adding them, and they're adding them to racks that already have integrated functional trainers. And this is one of those. I'd say this is one of the first ones and one of the, I don't necessarily want to say best ones, but best ones that we've had yet, integrating the Smith machine. And this one's counterbalanced. Yes, let's get into it. Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the Vesta Fitness Pro Series 3-in-1 Ultimate Squat Rack. And it features some really cool things. Now, this is very similar, I just want to say this from the start, this is very similar to some other racks on the market. What really changes between these racks, this one versus others, is going to be the accessories and attachments they add to them, but also the price that they have. Now, the uprights on this are using the 3x3 11 gauge steel with 1-inch holes. This is really what you should go with. If you're searching for a rack and this is kind of the early of your search, you'll find that many of the racks on the market are using this. Everything from the more popular options like your Rep Fitness PR5000, your Rogue Monster series, all the way down to more newer entrant companies like we have here with Vesta Fitness. Now, the shell of this is very similar to the Fringe Sport Dane. We reviewed the Fringe Sport Dane. I give it high remarks because it can do a lot at a good price. They're using 1-to-1 ratio on this. In that video, I said that Vesta Fitness, this company, makes the same exact thing or sells the same exact thing using a 2-to-1 ratio for a similar cost. Well, since then, actually Vesta Fitness has lowered their cost so they compete even closer. Well, this is that, but with more added on, and something that's very significant added on, which is the Smith machine. But first I want to talk through the squat rack. So the squat rack is using, basically what you'll use this as is a half rack. So you use off the front of the base. It's using the standard uprights like I've talked about, which is really the way that you should go if you're building a garage gym at this point. Then you can add any attachments that you want, also modularity. This is using a 49-inch outside to outside width. That matters for re-racking and unracking the bar. It also matters because any cross members that you're gonna use that go horizontal, you're gonna be able to use certain companies and not others. Example, you can use Rogue on this, but Rep is 47 inches, so you're either gonna need to add spacers or it just won't work. Now they're using laser cut numbers on the uprights. This is nice because you are using a trolley system for a functional trainer, and so being able to know where those are, as well as being able to know where all the attachments that they send you with this are, because they include a ton of attachments. I'll walk through those. Also, because you want to know where your J-cups are when you're lifting. So it's nice that they add these. They actually add them on all the posts, even though the front two are really the only ones that need it, but it's nice that they have them everywhere. Now, Vesta is offering this in 4 different color options. They have a red upright, which is what you have here, which is actually a pretty nice powder coat. It's not as nice as, say, Rogue Fitness, but it's really like mid-tier. They also have a clear coat, which I think looks sick. I just sometimes worry about clear coat because sometimes they can just be prone to rusting. I don't know about Vestas, I'm just saying in general. They have a white and a black. I think the red looks the coolest, especially with the attachments that are black. Now to the functional trainer. The functional trainer, I would actually suggest going and watching the Dane review because I go into that one very much detail, and this is same components, very similar. But this one is using a 2-to-1 ratio on the pulley that separates it and makes it different from the Dane. There's positives and negatives to that. The positive is you're gonna have more cable travel so you can come out further, which the 1-to-1 ratio on the Dane is perfectly fine for a lot of movements, but there are some movements that you wanna do, say off the rack with a bench or something like that, that having extra travel is really nice. The stacks, they include 2 200-pound stacks, which a 2-to-1 ratio, you half that. May be difficult for some of the audience to divide that, but that's 100 pounds. So 100 pounds is what you're gonna feel off of the functional trainer, which if you compare to even commercial functional trainers, 100 pounds is a really good amount. In fact, I have a free motion functional trainer in my garage, like the GOAT, dual cable cross, you know, it's like 10 grand, 75 pounds is the max weight. So most functional trainers, 100 pounds off of the feel weight is perfectly fine. The potential problem in that for this rack is it's designed to be an all-in-one, which means they design it so you can do low rows and lat pull downs off of this. Low rows off of a 2-to-1 ratio, you need a massive stack because you can lift a lot of weight on a low row. So you're gonna max this out. A lot of people they're gonna need way more than 100 pounds, 150, 200 pounds, even more than that. Some people lat pull downs with 300 pounds. So if that's you, you're probably gonna want a standalone lat pull down low row. They include attachments so that you can use this rack for that. And they say on their site, you can add a weight stack pin. It increases the weight up to 450 pounds. Well, that's adding plates, and most people don't want to buy a stack and then have to add plates. So just be aware, you can add a weight stack pin on this, and the cables can hold up to 450 pounds. So if you don't mind just adding that for some of the movements, you're gonna be perfectly fine to be able to lift as much as you want. But also, because it's using the functional trainer for the lat pull down and low row, the low row may be fine. The lat pull down is gonna be kind of at an angle, and you may have difficulty getting stretched depending on how tall you are and how low you put the seat, because it's gonna be at that front angle versus being over the top. Just something to be aware of. Now, they have made the very wise decision to have aluminum pulleys all throughout, and they're using decent bearings on the pulleys too, so it's a very smooth pull. Here on out, I expect aluminum pulleys kind of be the standard for home gyms at these price points. This is designed not to be like the highest tier, but more of a mid-tier option, and aluminum pulleys are what we expect, and this is a very smooth machine. Also to the Trolley, they're using oversized pop pin that just snaps and feels really good, a knurled handle, and the Trolley is light enough with the plastic inside, similar to what Reps is using, that it's very easy to go up and down, and you can do it with one hand. Then to the most interesting part. What is unique about this bad boy is it includes a Smith machine. I love Smith machine. Talked about this before. It's probably the piece of equipment that I've changed my mind the most on, and I now use the most. I basically added Bolt's version to my rack, and it is awesome. But this has something that's even better than the one in the garage. Here's what's better. This one is counterbalance. This is actually one of the few all-in-one racks for home gyms that has a counterbalance Smith machine. Another company that has this is Force USA. But there are actually a lot of things about this that I actually prefer, and the price too, over Force USA's version. The counterbalance on this though is using also aluminum pulleys. It's got like this little aluminum pulley. It's pretty cool. They included that as aluminum pulley too, just so it matches everything else. But the counterbalance makes it so the bar is literally 0 pounds. I don't know if you can see this, but it just stays there. It's because it's perfectly 0 pounds. So it's balanced perfectly, which is very similar if you've ever come from a commercial gym. This is gonna most recreate what you've been using in a Smith machine at a commercial gym because it's counterbalanced. The reason this is nice is because you can do exercises that require lighter weights, or if you're weaker, say a new lifter or whatever, you can start all the way from 0 pounds, all the way up to as much weight as you want, which is very nice. There are some movements that, frankly, you just need lighter weight than what the bar can allow. And this bar itself, they sell it without the counterbalance for 500 bucks less. That version actually has a 45-pound bar. So it's not too bad. It's actually 45 pounds with start weight for a regular bar. It's just nice to have the counterbalance. And I will say the counterbalance is really well done. It's integrated really well. You can hardly even see it. There's basically a weight that rides on its own guide rod, and then it's got a cable that comes through and attaches to it, so it's perfectly counterbalanced. I love this feature. The one thing I would say about the Smith machine attachment on this that's a little less than ideal is just basically the travel length. It doesn't go quite as low as I'd like for like RDLs and deadlifts and just some movements like that. I love doing RDLs on a Smith machine. But you can just stack up plates, not a huge deal. The overhead, it's got a pretty good distance for a Smith machine. So I'd say generally the Smith machine component that's on here is pretty good. The bar is, like most Smith machines, it's overlooked. This is what's gonna happen. Companies are gonna see this. There is gonna be a company that comes out with the Smith machine attachment that they actually thought about the barbell that's in there. They actually thought about the knurling. Whoever's first to do that, just for everybody watching, they're gonna sell a lot of them. This company, Vesta, did not think a lot about it. It's just a standard chrome bar with basic knurling. It's okay, but it gets the job done. On the Smith machine, it does hold 700 pounds, so it's quite heavy. They're using guide rods. It's quite smooth. The biggest thing with guide rods in a garage gym is you need to use grease so it's smooth, but that grease attracts dirt, so you just kind of got to stay on top of it, because if that dirt gets in the bearings, over time it just wears it down. Then to attachments. This thing has a lot of attachments. Here's the attachments. 2 J-cups, 2 spotter arms, one vertical bar holder so you can hold your barbell in there, 2 D-grip handles, which are basically just the cable crossover handles, 1 back cross member, so they got the Arch logo, which they're including that as an attachment on the side. It's not an attachment, it's just something that holds the rack together. Also, the Arch logo, it's like Rep's old Arch logo where they have it like the stainless that's like crimped in. It's just okay. It kind of warps and stuff, but gets the job done. 1 multi-grip pull-up bar off the front that's kind of designed after Sornex's Batwing bar. In fact, it's definitely designed off that, but it's knurled. It's actually a really nice bar. I like that design. And has 2 front legs included. Also a pegboard off the back. They include all that. Most companies, they're like, they gig you for all the stuff. It's all a cart. No, it's all in one. You get all that stuff. So the pricing, it's not cheap. Like it's like $4,500 for all of this, free shipping, but that's with the counterbalance. If you want cheaper, you can still have the Smith machine without the counterbalance for $500 less. I think it's a good rack. I think the price, basically this is for all this stuff, this is basically what you're gonna look at. There are many options in this market. The problem with many of the options is they're more expensive. Force USA is an example. On some of their stuff can be more expensive. I actually would probably prefer this over some of Force USA stuff. The reason being is they're not using proprietary sizing on the uprights. It's a 3x3 rack, so you can have all the attachments and stuff you're wanting to use from other companies. I really like that part of this. But the biggest problem with this, and I would like to find a workaround, is having a standalone lat pull down low row that's center mount on this. If you could have this with, say, a Rep lat pull down low row center mount with a rear base stabilizer right there, oh, that'd be money. This would have everything in a really compact platform and in a modular design. So I may try and see if we can mod one up. Now, one thing that would be cool is if they decided to sell the Smith machine on its own. I mean, it just goes into 3x3 1-inch hole cross members. So you could take this and put it into another rack. The spacing on the cross members you'd have to figure out because it attaches top and bottom. It doesn't attach to the upright itself, say like bolts, but that is an option. All right, what do you think of the rack? We actually reviewed this because you guys requested specifically this rack, Vesta Fitness, on quite a few reviews. You're like, when are you reviewing the Vesta? So thanks for letting us know. That's why we reviewed it. Are there other racks you'd like to see and ones you'd like to see this compared to? You let me know in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Peace.